Choose Your Choices podcast first, Instagram live. Today we talk about the story of resilience from Fareed. He's a student that was expelled from Hampton University and returned to not only receive his degree early but earn his MBA. We talk about 2020 vision and we learn about investing in 2020 and what that looks like.
Like, subscribe, comment.
You look the official tissue, man.
Good looking, man. Good looking.
I'm like, yo, my man got the mic now.
You know. So as a matter of fact, I was just bigging up the boy Prince Darnell.
Yeah.
I've been kind of watching what he's doing, man. Like he's able to kind of franchise his business, and I mean, he always looks good with the exposed brick behind him and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm seeing what's going on, man. I'm seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So we can start with introductions, then we could just kind of talk about the different topics.
For sure. You want to start off? You want me to go?
I'll start off. Then you could go ahead and pick it up. So I'm Dr. Norton. I am a therapist and I am a CEO of a mental health agency. I'm also a professor at Hampton University, teaching in the Department of Counseling, training future therapists and Ph.Ds in counseling. And yeah, that's what I am.
Yes. So my name is Fareed Hester. I'm a recent graduate of Hampton University's 5-year MBA program, which I just completed this previous May. I am now a realtor in Maryland, as well as a foreign exchange mentor. And me and Dr. Norton met while I was spending some time at Hampton University. Our relationship grew. He's become one of my mentors, also a frat brother. But our relationship has grown within the frat as well as outside the frat. So excited to be here talking with you, man.
Nah, for sure. Let's talk a little bit about how we met, man. Let's bring it back to that student center 12 to 2. That was a major before we get into it, you had a major setback. But you had a minor setback. It seemed major at the time. But just to see your resilience and your growth and your drive, man, I always tell you I'm proud of you. But yeah, let's take it back to the 12 to 2 and kind of what happened and how that shifted your trajectory a bit.
Right. So at first I would say me and Dr. Norton we knew each other and knew of each other just from being in the frat, right? But at this moment is kind of where our relationship started taking another toll, to the point where we, started having regular one-on-one meetings, just to talking about, both of our futures. And this, like you said, was a minor setback, right? So, being in a fraternity, you grow a lot of love, right, for your frat, for your brothers, to the point sometime where it can even be displayed through, physicality, right? So, we often get in disputes sometimes with other frats, and sometimes it goes to, limits in which it shouldn't, right? And that's something that did happen back in 2017, right, in my time at Hampton, to the point where we got in a physical altercation with another fraternity, right? So, happens a lot, happens too much, quite frankly. Within the divine nines, we should be taking care of each other, but often, as a family, we all know we fight with family. Right. So, that's something that did kind of set me back at Hampton because it actually caused me to have to go home for a semester. Right.
Yeah. So just to be clear, so it was initially expelled or suspended, or what was it?
Right. So initially I was expelled. And then after, the appeal process and, due process, as you would call it, I was allowed back into the school.
Right. So initially, so Fareed was a senior, business major, plans on pursuing his MBA, just finished an internship over the summer, semester. I think this was the first Friday, right? So
the first Friday back.
First Friday back. So semester's bright. I mean, the sun is shining. Like he mentioned, the altercation. And they expel him from school. All right, so let's take it from there. What you're thinking about your career? You're thinking about all this kind of stuff. Talk to me about it.
Right. So at this moment, it's like you said, it's the first semester of my final year, my senior year. And at this moment, I'm like somewhat devastated, quite honestly. Just because coming up, I always put myself in the right position, right? And this was one of the first major times where I put myself in the wrong position, right? And everything that I had fought to work for was sort of on the line, right? We're talking about, again, going through, grade school, going all the way through middle high school, all the way through college almost, right?
All the way through college. We
All
talking
the way
senior
through
year.
college.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No major issues up until then, right? And at this moment, it's just like you talk about, recent tragedy, putting things into perspective. At that moment, right? That was my recent tragedy.
For sure.
Right? That was like, wow, man, you really risked everything in the snap of a finger, right? In the 30 seconds moment, right? So it was really, really a humbling experience. I mean, to the point where now I'm looking at, okay, can I graduate on time, right? Can I continue within my program? Would they even allow me back into school? Will I have
first step is will I finish college?
Exactly.
Yeah, for
exactly.
sure.
Right, because it's like every single possibility runs through your head at that moment. Like, damn, do I go get a job? Right. I'm talking to my lady who got me the internship, right? My internship she's like, well, do you want to come work for the rest of the semester? Like, all type of options are popping up at this point. And some time to talk with God, quite frankly, you know what I mean? Was out of school again for the remaining of that semester. Again, like you said, that was the first Friday. So at this point, like, spending a lot of time at home, right? And just watching things go down from behind the scenes, and then really put it in perspective, like, all right, man, things are going to go down with or without you, right? So it's either you're going to be there to get yours or you're not.
That's a fact. Right. And at that point, when you got suspended or expelled, we'll call it expelled, I knew that one or two things could happen. Either you're going to be able to kind of look in the mirror and come back better, or it is what it is, kind of.
Right. It would be the tone, right? It would take the tone on it.
Right. So your comeback, you came back heavy. You came back heavy.
Right. So halfway through the semester, right, like maybe like beginning in November, at this point it kind of clicked for me. I'm like God gave you opportunity now. Like I sit down, right? I do the math as far as like the remaining credits in which I have, right? And at that moment, like when I
hold on, before you get into that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Me and you had a conversation, and I knew you were a thinker because you were like, man, if I just take 21, I might have to go back and take. Like, I could see you were analyzing it. Like, this,
yeah.
This was the obstacle, but this wasn't going to be the ending. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
I was trying to figure out which way it could work out for me. You know what I'm saying? Just, and that's something that, we could talk about today. That's just mindset. You feel me? And my mind was like, at that moment when I decided that it wasn't going to be the end for me, right? My mind was then like glass half full, right? Instead of half empty. So like you said, absolutely. I'm analyzing it. I'm like, okay, how in any possible way can I make this situation work right to my benefit? Sit down, do the math, and turns out I have 22 credits right left to graduate. Often people would take 20, 21, 22. They're kind of like, and they're looking at you like, can you do this, right? Because the school also doesn't want to be in a position where they advise you wrong, right?
Right.
So at that point, it was like, okay, bouncing around, talking to each and every professor, like trying to pretty much get them on my side, like, hey, my work ethic, like I never been in no major trouble, like I excel in the classroom, I can do this, like my mind is set to this, and I can do this. And then, right, coming back, it was just like lock in mode.
Lock in. You was locked in when you came back.
Yeah.
You were locked in. I know that one obstacle was before you were expelled. It was, hey, I'm going to go 5-year MBA. These are my plans. I know when that happened, it was will they let me in the MBA program if I don't finish on time? You know, you had a lot of obstacles against you. But, you know, like they said, pressure makes diamonds. So you were able to kind of use what was going on. And I don't know if it drove you more. I don't really know, but you definitely came back heavy. So now at this point, you're in the MBA. So you graduate on time, right?
Right.
All right. You graduate on time. You get admitted to the MBA program. Now you're in the MBA.
Right.
All right. All right. So typically, with the MBA, a lot of people pursue the MBA to try to get some kind of corporate job, things of that nature. But you went a different route. So let's talk about the route that you went. You know, after obtaining your MBA.
Right. So, as you said, like, you know, closing up that senior year, I took 22 credits, ended up finishing on time. I then, after, right, in the summertime, I go back to my corporate internship, which I've been working for a couple years at this point, right? So it was with an insurance company, right? Fortune Top 50 insurance company. And essentially, right, I had a decision to make, right, going back into school. And I'm not even going to lie to you, right? Even going into the 5th year, right, of my MBA, at that moment, my mind was still in that job. Like, my mind was still.
Yeah, no, yeah, it definitely was. Right.
And, like, that still was on my mind. Like, that's where I thought I was headed, right? So it wasn't till maybe, like, deep into the second semester, maybe, like, till March, April, where I'm still undecided, right? Everyone in my class has made their decision by this point. I'm still undecided, but, like, that undecisiveness, right, was somewhat of my decision too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I literally just knew I didn't want to make that commitment, and that in itself is like something that is a message towards you, like, you know.
So at this point, your internship is offering you a job.
Exactly.
And you're not committed to it.
No, but the good thing about my situation, right, I was blessed. Oh man, so, and this is going to speak real quick towards the Hampton culture, right? So 2014 graduate of Hampton University's 5-year MBA program, which I'm in, right? One day makes a call back to the dean, School of Business, Dr. Hayes, and it's like, hey, I have an internship, send me a student, right? At this moment, this is like beginning of my sophomore year, when I'm about to pledge K-Psi, so I'm building my relationships throughout the school, right? And the dean, right, who was previously my freshman year, she was my advisor and just, right, a regular professor. My sophomore year then gets moved to dean, right? Okay. And she gets that phone call, and she's like, I got somebody for you. She calls me, she's like, do you have an internship yet? I'm like, no, I do not, right? And she plugs me in there after my sophomore year. So at that rate, like, I've been building a rapport and relationship with this individual, right, this Hampton alum, and she was able to put a string for me to where she said, hey, in that last year, right, I'll give you up until, right, March, April to make your decision. Granted, everyone else had to commit the previous October.
Did you ask for extension or what happened?
I did not ask for anything. Like, she just, that was, you know, her off the top, like, because it was different. She created the position, right, for that internship. Like, she was on a mission. Like, I'm going to get, you know, HBCU student in here, right, give the opportunity, right, for my alma mater. Also, like, she literally created a position for a Hampton student to come intern, right? So when it came time to trying to turn that same position into a full-time role, like, she was like, I can do that for you. You've been here enough summers, right? You've built enough rapport in the office to where I can literally create a role for you.
So they handed you a corporate job. At this point, they're trying to
exactly like handing me a role, creating a role in that team for me. However, right,
no, go ahead.
Yeah, so by then it's like going on March, April, and I'm just like, I'm not sold, right? It's a feeling in my heart that's just not sold on that whole lifestyle. I would have had to go live in New Jersey. Right, pack everything up and move, like, and I had done that each and every summer
for internship.
For the internship, right? I had done that each and every summer, and by then I'm just like, I wasn't feeling it. I didn't have it in my heart.
Okay.
So at that rate, it was just like, all right, what's next? right? What's next? And Dr. Rose, who was the vice assistant dean, right, to the School of Business at this point, she had taught a real estate course a sophomore year, and I mean was probably maybe top two, maybe probably top one courses that I took at Hampton. Right?
Okay, like when you say top course, do you mean like education or like professional like development?
Professional development. I mean the course where I was like, okay, this can be applied to real life immediately. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It was the easiest to actually tie to, you know, boots on the ground and actually, you know, being involved in your business. Right. But also she was talking about just the freedom of real estate. Like she was just saying, she said it like this, like even if you never like want to go 100% into real estate, you got to know this stuff if you want to be successful.
That's a fact. I mean, all the books talk about being able to have assets in real estate and multiple streams, and you know.
Exactly. She pushed that like early. Hey guys, I think us are going to get money, right? We know that. We're past that, right? We're at a 99% job placement rate, right? For the 5-year MBA program, right? We're past that level. It's on to the next level of, okay, how do you grow and maintain that income that you guys will all be seeing, right? And this was one avenue in which to do so. And I mean,
thinking about making the money work for you.
Exactly. Like, and I loved it. And I was just like, wow, like I know I'm a dab into real estate regardless of whatever I ever do. Like at that moment I had made the decision. And then, right, so by senior year, I'm thinking like, okay, what do I love to do, right? At this moment, like I've started my little traveling thing. Like I've been a couple of places here and there on spring break. I'm doing different things, right? Than everyone else. And I was just like, man, I love travel. I've always loved, you know, architecture. I've always loved design, right? All things that are within real estate, right? Meanwhile, right, same time, at the same exact time, simultaneously, right, my mom had been just discussing about leaving her career in property management and going full-time to real estate, right? Okay. So, you know, and this is something that me and you talked about in our times, right? So at this rate, you know, property management and real estate go hand in hand. It's one within the other, right? So she has pretty much, you know, property managed real estate history, you know, for the last 25 years. So at this point, like, it's kind of a shift in which our family's moving. And at this, a vision is in my head, like, okay, the family way, you know, we're going to grow our wealth. We're going to, you know, we're going to gain family, right, wealth that goes on and on generation by generation, right? And it can start right here with me, right? So at that moment, I made the decision. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go do this thing. I'm gonna go do this thing right out of college. I talked to a lot of my mentors, right, you included, and you know, some of the things we discussed were how a lot of the top guys in real estate, they just say, bro, the only thing I regret, right, is not going in and straight out of school. Right. You know, we talk about that a lot. You feel me? So at that point, I'm just like, man, I have an opportunity in front of me to where I have family who supports me, you know, every endeavor I have, right? Good, bad, or indifferent, which is very in key to the entrepreneur lifestyle, right? It's support. Oh man, family support, a supportive team behind you. Like, it's almost everything in the entrepreneurial business, right? Because it's ups and downs, it's highs and lows, right? So coming in with that support, it was like everything to me. I'm like, okay, this thing is possible, and there's people rooting for me, and there's people on my side who aren't judging me, right? And trying to force me down the quote unquote traditional route, traditional path, right? Right. So, oh man, was that key for me? I mean, it was everything.
So like I said, you're in the MBA. Now you're kind of realizing real estate may be the option. So they talk about being able to take the entrepreneurial jump, right? Which is, you know, not necessarily going corporate or business, but, you know, being able to create your own businesses or multiple streams. So, okay, so you graduate, you go real estate, and you also have Forex.
Right. So little story behind the Forex, right?
So wait, before we get into Forex.
Yeah.
So outside of the university settings, like no one knows what Forex is. Unless you're in business. You know what I'm saying? So just explain what Forex is, I guess compare it to stocks, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So Forex is right, it's short for foreign exchange, right? Somewhat similar to the stock market in which, you buy and sell, at a profitable rate, right? Buy and sell at a profitable rate. Essentially, that's all it is in a nutshell, right? So we often even participate in this market, right, without even knowing it. So if you've ever been out of town and exchanged, right, US dollars for whatever other currency in which the place you were going to, that was you participating in a foreign exchange, right, of currencies.
Right.
At this rate,
so if you go to Cancun and you stop by the exchange in the airport, at that point you're foreign exchange.
You have now participated in the market.
Okay.
Simple as that. Like, and that's the physical, real way that it's traded, right? So literally a hand-for-hand trade at the kiosk in the airport.
Right.
So it's 2020 now. Of course, we have an app for everything, right? So at this rate, we're just making those same exact exchanges virtually, digitally, right?
Right, and it's more than just the, hey, I'm going to Cancun with 5,000. Now I got 10,000 pesos. It's more of a science and trading, like stocks, like day trading.
Exactly. So with the stocks, right, buy low, sell high, it's very similar, right? We're going to buy a given currency when it will be profitable for us to sell it, we'll do so, right? It's the same kind of concept, same token, just manipulating these exchange rates for our benefit, for our profit.
Right, and the trend I'm seeing, so just like when anything pops, it starts with I don't want to say it starts with, but the university population kind of jumps on first, right? And they kind of push the envelope. I can see you and your team. You got a strong team. So you guys remind me of so let's call it Steph, Clay, and Draymond.
Yeah.
But we're talking the Warriors. Each of you guys is bringing something to the team, and y'all are kind of pushing the agenda. So, in the entrepreneurial lane, talk to me about how important it is to have the team behind you.
Oh my God, it's everything, bro. It's everything, and I'm gonna prove to you how it's everything right here, right now. I started trading foreign exchange currencies in 2018, right? During that time when I got expelled, and I'm sitting at home, I promise you this was the time where I was like, all right, I'm here at home now. Everyone else is at school occupied. What can I do to
They tried to finish this.
Yeah, they tried to end this, man. But y'all know, again, another time, you know what I'm saying, where you see the resilience, we right back on.
We right back, man.
People plugged right back in. Love to see it. But again, guys, so my team is just a small group within the fastest growing investment group in the world right now, which is Trade House, which grew from 5 members to over 20,000 members in a matter of 2 years. So if you're interested in opening up those streams of income that we discussed, right, and starting to invest in yourself, right, that's one way you can do so, by reaching out to me through my Instagram at Hester, right, and that's my name on all socials, right, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You can follow me on all these platforms.
Spell it for them so they know what's going on.
Yep, so that's FAREEDHESTER. And that's on all platforms. So you can follow me, ask me questions related to foreign exchange or real estate. You also can check out my real estate business at fareedhester.com. So it's the same tag, just the website, FAREEDHESTER.com. You can check out, what I have going on there. Check out some blogging that I do as far as my real estate. And we can connect, man. We can all do this thing together.
That's a fact. And on my end, Dr. Norton Therapy, one thing I'm really focused on is kind of innovation and access to services. So the new campaign we're doing, Telemental Health, which is HIPAA compliant video counseling. If anyone needed to talk about the Kobe situation or whatever you got going on, I'm the guy. drnortontherapy.com. Also, we have the Choose Your Choice. We have the Choose Your Choices podcast. Currently, it's Black Mental Health, but they're about to get the whole rebrand.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
big things in the future, man. Let's collaborate.
Hey man, for
And
sure.
try to compete
I
against each
want
other.
to thank you, man. I want to definitely thank you for bringing me on this live today, man. And I hope that this is something, you know, maybe we can do religiously. Maybe we can do this
For
once a
sure,
month or
I'm
something.
with
You
that. I
know
mean,
what I'm saying?
this was definitely authentic conversation.